there's any sports fan in here, I'm gonna give 2 tickets to Clippers game at the Intuit Stadium for the winner. Whoever's, hopefully you stay to the end, gotta be here at the end to win it. And they are really good tickets, okay? They are club VIP tickets, so it will be a great experience. I don't know which game we'll figure the game out later on. All right, let's get started. I should be having a co-presenter come on, Fernando Diaz with CMG, long time mortgage person. So when he shows up, we'll talk to him. But this is a big thing. I actually want us to start with sharing the value of having a good credit. In my presentation, I talk about it, but I really wanted to bring it home. I have a young couple that are currently in escrow, and because of their initial FICO score, that was where it needs to be for the lender program. We find them, my goal is always to find people a better way of life, a better way to finance real estate. Even though I don't do financing, I always connect with different lenders. But this couple, they were in escrow on a property, and their FICO score was pretty good in the beginning. And then we went into escrow. Unfortunately, due to neglect, one of the major things is it wasn't that they were late on anything, but a collection came up that was not there before. And when a collection comes up, it can just impede. I mean, it drops the FICO down almost 100 points. And what the benefit is, because of that, they couldn't qualify for that special program we were looking to get them financed through. We had to go to a regular program, and it cost them $900 more. $900 more. And the guy was crying on me like, Gary, what is going on? I said, this is the value of it. Now, I believe in second chances. So hopefully that program will be available 6 months later on, they can refinance it. But that's just that simple thing of being really focused and responsible on taking care of our FICO score. So today we're going to talk about how we can build wherever you are to 800 FICO score. Of course, that's I think at the peak of my score, I got to 826. So I kind of dropped off to that too. But what does it take to get to? I actually had I won't say young couple. I had a couple that both husband and wife were 850. I'm like, oh my God. And it's not like they make a lot of money. They don't. They were just that responsible with their money. So it's quite possible when we pay attention to it. Okay. So what's this thing now? So my name is Gary Nix. I've been doing real estate for about 20 years now. My goal always is to help individuals, family, to grow their wealth. And I really believe there are many sources of growing wealth, of course. I believe real estate is one, because it's something we have to do anyway. Everybody got to live somewhere. And if you can learn to grow your wealth with that, it's a great thing. So let's get started. Wendy, let me know when Fernando is here, please.
Yes, Gary.
So the 3 myths understanding about credits. When people say, I don't want to have a good credit, or I don't need to have a good credit, I'm kind of going to go through what's holding us back. The myths are the things that hold us back from focusing on improving our credit. So let's see. I think I'm going to need an audience participation. Who's willing to help me with reading some of this stuff?
I can read it.
All right, good. So give me the first myth.
Myth 1.
Mhm.
I don't need credits.
Okay,
Answer. Yes, you can't do without credits.
that is so true. People will say, oh, I don't need credit. I'm just gonna, everything I buy on cash. Unfortunately, that's not a wealthy mentality. That's not a place where you can grow wealth, because everything you do, even if you have $1 million in your pocket, if you need to fly to New York, your $1 million in your pocket ain't gonna get you there. Nobody's taking cash. So you need to have credit established. It's just using it right. All right, so let's go to myth number 2.
I don't want debts and be in debt to the man. Answer. You want good debt. You cannot have quality of life without debt.
That's so true. Anybody else have comments on that? Miss Jean, maybe?
Did you call me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing stuff. Go ahead. What did you say? I'm sorry.
That's cool. So we're just talking about, when say on the second myth, if it says I don't want debt and don't want to be in debt to, the government or the bank or whatnot. Any comments do you have around that?
On the bank saying you don't want to be in debt, or my FICO score? Which one?
Okay, so all right. Well, I think we'll leave you for now. You can come back later on. That's
Can
good.
can I say something real quick?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Okay. Pertaining to when we live in the world that we live in, unfortunately, we have to partake the way things work. Like with our technology, we were forced into that. We have to use it, otherwise we're left behind.
yeah,
Same thing with the credit. If we don't use credit, you can't get along in life. You can't get what you need or you want because you have to follow the protocol that life is using. So that's
right.
essentially what it's about.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
but this is Jean, but when you get stuff on credit, it do build your FICO score up. But you must FICO, but you must remember, I say FICO, I'm sorry. But and I'll probably say FICO again, but you must remember what you get. Of course, a car and stuff like that, that's you got payments. But when you use your regular credit cards, never overspend, because you got to pay that back plus interest. So if you go buy, say, let's say $100 worth of some items, and you're just paying a minimum payment, you pay way over the price of the items.
That's
So
right.
what I do is, if I know that I cannot pay that bill when it comes, I don't go over that, because most of the times when I was a single parent at the time raising 2 kids, my kids didn't have all this stuff, all this, they may have 4 pair of shoes and stuff, where now when I got married, then they had like 20 pair of shoes. We don't need all that. We don't. But we want that for our kids. We want that for ourselves. I have an overabundance of clothes. It's too much. I'm sad. I'm supposed to get rid of some of this stuff because I don't need it. But we just want. But
Okay.
that's why the score, why we go over our ratio and our monies.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, the last myth.
Myth number 3. I don't want to be too straight. I don't want to be an edgy life. Answer. You're being straight or edgy doesn't debar you from having good credit. It shows you have wisdom.
That's right. That's right. Okay, we'll move on that, because we do have a lot of slides to cover. All right. So I want us to, I've always used this example to imagine a world of endless possibilities. What's possible? Where you always get the best of the cake. You reserve the best sitting in, you go somewhere, you have the best sitting. The tickets I'm offering for today, it's Clippers ticket, it's a VIP ticket. When I first got those tickets, I'm like, no, I don't want this. But when I went to the experience, like, oh my God, this is an experience. It's so worth it. So anyway, you suffer less than anyone. How do you suffer less than anyone when you have good credit? We'll talk about that. Your payment is always less than anybody else. Zach Clark's example that somebody buy a house, another person buy the same house, and they're spending $1,000 more less because they have that good credit. You know, making the same money, but you're spending less, it gives you a good lifestyle. You get considered for anything you want. And when you have a good credit, literally you go, I went to Macy's to buy some gift items for a party, and they're like, please, get our credit. I said, I'm good. I used to have their credit a long time ago. I didn't use it, and I think it got canceled, but that's fine. But my point is, they look like, oh, you're buying, $800 worth of stuff. Get our credit for it. You get invited to every party you go to. Nothing comes easy, but everything are results of our choices. So when we make this choice, it makes things better, for us. So let's kind of bring this home for our understanding. Okay. I've used the sample of two brothers, again, making the same amount of money, putting the same kind of down payment. And what difference is that when you have good credit, one is paying $822 a month, and the other one is paying $616 a month. That's the difference. That extra $200 a month less that one is paying, it gives us other avenue. It means, it's $200 you can take somebody, your partner to dinner, to the movies. It just means you bring more to the table because you have good credit. So it's really valuable when we think about these things to change our life. And same thing if we're looking at somebody that's buying a house, I think I mentioned this earlier, where that person that have better credit can be paying sometimes $2,000 less in payment, because putting the same amount of money down for the home makes the same money, putting the same money down, but because that good credit, it opens. And here's another thing: if you have good credit, you may actually buy that home with nothing out of your pocket. I've had people, I don't know who's online right now, but I remember this young lady she was an RN for many years, doing decently well, but and I just keep encouraging her, let's go get your home, get your home. It's like, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. Eventually, when she said, okay, I'm ready, but I don't have any money saved, so I need to save at least $100,000. And I'm like, how long is it going to take you to do that? And she said, well, in the next 4 or 5 years. I said, no, let me find your program. Literally out of pocket, she only paid $3,700 for this nice townhome she got in Carson. And within the 4-year time that she was planning on saving, that townhome had gained $200,000 in equity. That's the value of building wealth and being focused on building that wealth. So all right, so let's talk about the FICO score. Is Fernando on the line yet? No.
Not yet, Gary.
Okay. So FICO score is rated by 3 companies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So sometimes you'll have a particular trade line that's reported by 2 of the 3. Sometimes it's reported by the 3 of them, right? So we want to focus on where your score are with all these. When, it depends on what you're looking to buy. If you're buying a car, they're just going to use the highest of your FICO score. If you're buying a home, they're looking at the middle score of the 3. So you always want to make sure 2 of them are where you want it to be, okay? So what is a trade line? It's basically a record of activity for any type of credit extended to you, a borrower. So a trade line is basically keeping what's available. I mean, what you've been using on a credit card or student loan, whatever that may be. It shows that record and they report it to the credit bureau. So the power is always in our hands if we are wise to it. Everything is in our hands. We just need to use wisdom, kind of like Miss Jean was talking earlier on. Use the wisdom well of how you spend it, but you do need it in order for you to grow. And communication is the key. When people say, "Oh, I don't want to talk to any financial institution. I don't want to take any debtor call," that's really a mistake. I want us to change that mindset going forward. Always be eager to talk to people, talk to your financial institution, because they are not there to kill you. They're there to help you. But you do have a responsibility to take care of the bills that you set up before them. They issue you that credit because of understanding that you have this income and you're responsible to pay it. So pay it. And if life happens, communicate with them, and you will see them. Unless for Synchrony Bank, that's a tough bank. Actually, let me take that back. That's changing these days. Just this past week, I was negotiating with a client with Synchrony Bank, and they actually, did they? No, they did not. They did not. I was trying to get them to settle and to remove the trade line completely. They said, no, we will report it for less than. But at least they're getting better now. So, all right. So, number one is answer every calls that come from your creditors. Do not shy of it, even if it feels very inconvenient. Life happens and it's put you in that stage, but the power is in your hand to bounce out of it and get back on your feet. Again, let me repeat that. Life happens and it puts you in that stage where you are not able to make this payment, you're not able to do this, right? But the power really is in your hand to take charge of it, to bounce back. Shying away from it does not achieve that at all. So communicate your situation always. I I had a couple that was going through a divorce. They had a property they have a lot of equity on, and because both husband and wife does not want to pay, towards the mortgage, I counseled them on, listen, if we both not going to be in agreement on making payment, let's call the bank. Can you at least call the bank and let them know you are going through? I was surprised. That bank was really nice. Give them 6 months to sort it out. And when the 6-month time came, they give them another 3 months to sort it out. Now, again, that was a situation. They have almost $1 million equity on the house. So it wasn't that the bank knows they're not going to lose anything. But some bank can be tough. But that's, again, the power in the hands of communicating. They communicate that even though there is a rift between the two, they were still able to communicate that to the bank and get the pattern of not making the payments. And eventually, they settle the bank. Okay. Respond to every threat of collections. Now, this is the biggest killer in credit. Collections. And I don't care what people say. I know all these collection companies, they have called you, they have emailed you, they have sent you letters before they put you on collection. Again, it's because life is happening to us, we ignore it, right? When we're going to talk about the programming of our mind to change our mind around certain situations, because when we change our mind, the power is so powerful when we do that. So it's really important to respond to those collection calls, because if you respond to it, it won't go to collection. And so there's some credits that we have, like most people go to the doctor's office and they had a copayment, blah, blah, they didn't make that copayment, and they will call you several times and email and then send you mails on it rather than ignoring it. And they will tell you, if you don't respond in the next 60 days, this will go into collection. And so especially with medical stuff, they don't report on your trade line. They're not reporting. They just back credit that comes up because of non-response to them. And when they come up, it can drop you 100 points. You know, you can go from 800 to 700, 700 to 600, like that. You know, something that you've built for. So it's really valuable to not ignore. If you answer them and say, hey, okay, I don't have it now, I can pay it next month, I can make an arrangement to pay this payment, a partial payment, whatever, they'll work with you. It never goes to collection. But when we don't respond, it goes into collection and we have a major situation. Okay, so these are the facts we need to know. Okay, let me actually do a little quiz here. What level is your credit at poor? Where's rated poor? Where does it need to be? Can I get some answers on that?
What is it? What it was the, how, what did you say again? What
level is your credit on for it to be a poor credit? You know, so your FICO score goes from 400 to 850. So where is poor credit in the eyes of
poor credit is below it's like under 600, I think it becomes poor, I believe, or it's high, or I think the very high of 500 is still considered fair, but it's like teetering on the line.
You're right on point.
Yeah.
Under 585 is considered poor. So if you go from 585 to like 640, you are on the fair credit. And your credit gets good from 640 to 720, and then it's excellent, you know, beyond 720. So those are the things we want to be mindful of. Like, okay, if I'm poor now, what do I need to get it to fair? If I'm fair now, what do I need to get it to good? If I'm good, what do I need to get it to excellent? Right? So, and we'll talk about the simple steps we need to take to make that happen.
I have a question, Mr. Nix.
Yeah.
What is the fair credit again? You said
anything under 585. I mean, fair credit will be 585 to 640.
585 to 640. Okay, thank you.
All right. So one of the thing that evolves in making your credit better, it's just the nature of how we do things, right? If our nature is right, we'll get better credit score. And the key thing that most people don't understand is no matter what your credit limit is, you never fully charge it up. You know, you get a credit card, you know, most of the time in the beginning, you're getting 300 to 500 credit line. And then you start getting to 1,000 and you start getting to 5, and then you start getting beyond that, right? But whatever it is, you'd never fully charge it up. Now, one of the things I always say is life happens. I mean, even myself, in the middle of this year, a lot of life happened to me in my business, and I charged some credit a little higher than I normally do. But most of the ones I charged up, I remember one particular my business credit. When I knew that I need to spend some money in there, I called Wells Fargo and say, okay, can you guys give me an increase on my business credit line? And they gave me some, not exactly what I wanted, but you know, they gave me some. And as soon as they gave it to me, so now the previous credit line I had, I pretty much fully charged it up because I knew I need to cover some stuff on the business expense to come back. And eventually later on, I paid it down. So that's what, you know, one of the things I always advise people, if you know life happens, you gotta take your dog to the veteran and it's gonna cost you $1,500 and you have a $1,500 credit line. Well, before you go to the veteran, especially when they've already told you what it's going to cost you, it takes a phone call. Just call your credit company and say, hey, I have this credit card, it's 1,500. Can you increase that to $3,000 for me? And they usually will make that decision right there. So now you go spend that 1,500 that you have to spend on your dog. It's not 100% of your credit line. It's 50% of your credit line. So it might impact you by 20 points. It's not going to impact you by 50 points. You know, so those are the things that we want to be aware of. Okay. Keep your revolving account under, I would say 30%. No matter what your usage of the credit is, always keep that 30% threshold. That will always keep you over 700. We're gonna talk to Miss Jean, who's maintained 800 for a long time, to tell us what she does to maintain that, right? But on the average people, if you're just keeping your revolving credit under 30%, you'll be fine. You'll still have an excellent credit. The biggest one that really affects people is this: late payment. You don't want to have that. I have a lady that was gonna sell a house to buy another house, and in the process, she was late on a mortgage, and we had a buyer for her, and she was gonna start looking at other properties, and because of the late, basically she was shut down for the next year. You have to wait 12 months before any bank will finance you to buy, to get another mortgage if you're late on one. So it's so important that we are never late. If now, again, it depends on the credit companies. Most credit companies, they don't actually report your 30 days late. They'll report it over 60 days. So if you're late, you'll see the calls start coming in that, hey, Mr. Nix, you have to make a payment, you have to make a payment, they'll let you know. Again, it's if we get to the point of answering those calls, we will avoid this. It's when we say, oh no, because I don't have things right now, or life is happening right now, then we don't take those calls, it gets late. Late is really, really damaging on the credit. So we want to avoid that at all costs. And we talked about this already, that sometimes life happens and you just need to take care of life. It doesn't matter what it is. It's happened to all of us. It could be for your grandchildren. It could be for your spouse. It could be your job, your business. Life happens sometimes, and you have to go take care of that life. But just be cognizant to take care of, respond to your credits. Okay. Okay, before we go to establishing credit, let me, Miss Jean, I don't know if who else is on the line that's
Jean is here.
okay. So let me just talk to you for a minute. First of all, thank you for coming on. If they can see your face, it'll be great. We don't see your face there.
I told you I was busy, but I'll show you my face in just a minute. I'm
Okay.
running late to be somewhere, and I think my tire is low, but wait a minute.
Oh, Lord.
My
Okay.
husband's checking it. I'll
Let
show
me
you my
see.
face. Here we are.
Life is
Let's see.
happening for her today.
Yes, I told you. I'm running late, and I got a baby too, an 8-month-old with me.
Oh,
Let's see. Show my face. Here
Hi.
I am. Hi.
Hi, Gary.
hi.
Good. Thank you.
Hi,
So
Gary.
tell us what do you what advice can you give to people to maintain the lifestyle of an 800 FICO score person? Tell us what that is like. What do you do?
Well, I barely ever make late payments. I have made some way in my lifetime. And when I was on disability, I contacted my people to let them know that I was on disability. I had to wait for my check, so they lowered my payments and said, "Can you make this payment?" And I said, "Yes, I can. And when I get my money, I will let you know to up go higher on my payment. Open the door for the baby, honey. I got to get my shoes. And I make sure that I never overspend. Like I said, even when I was a single parent, I wouldn't, I wanted things for my kids, but I knew that it wasn't the right, I couldn't afford it, so I didn't get it. A lot of times we want, but we don't need. So that's very important, like, your income has lowered. If you call and you could ask them, can they change the payment schedule for you, or even the interest rate if you've been paying good payments on time. And usually I would pay off my credits. Like when I, oh God, hold on for a minute. That's my godmother. Mom, I'll call you in a minute, okay?
That's
bye-bye.
cool. Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
yes.
you
So
for sharing that. I
yeah,
will leave it at that. That's
that's
cool.
what I do. I try to, make the full payments if I can. Okay.
So
And I
I
always
want
check
you
my
guys to
credit score. There you go.
yeah. So I
Okay.
want you guys to see this is example of someone like any one of us, right? That yet she's been able to maintain 800 FICO score, literally most of her life. And so just it's just someone like you that make good decisions all the time, right? So let's talk about how we can get up there, because I believe we are just a few steps away from getting. Listen, I've had people come here that were 440 FICO score, and within 2 months we build it up to over 600. And I've had people, the couple I was dealing with, literally this past week, I call in on the wife, I call in on the husband, and by the time this is going to be done, they're both going to have over 700 FICO score. From on the 600, and they have a lot of trade lines too. So, what do we need to do? First of all, if you do not have credit, let's talk about if you don't have credit, and this is not just for you, this is for if you have a young person in your life, a teenager or whatever, and you want to build their credit up. These are steps that you can take that they can build like that. One, get a secure credit card and make a payment. A secure credit card is basically you go to usually the bigger banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, but Capital One is doing it now too. And you put money in the account, but the only thing I want to advise people, I've seen people get secure credit card and they mess it up, and they go from 700 to 580 like that because they think it's their money and they gotta spend it, or they have a right to spend it. So they put $500 in the account and they charge it, and they charge it over $500 because they're thinking, well, the first 500 is mine, so now I got an extra 500 from the bank, and they go spend 750.
No, that doesn't work that way.
So you go over your credit limit, and that will bring your score down. The idea of secure credit card is still a credit card. Yeah, it's your money invested into it.
Let me
to
put
help
it
you
in.
establish it.
Put what in?
Okay, so you want to keep the balances low. I would say, you get a secure credit card, go fill up your gas, and then pay down to like $10. Boom, you will get a jump of 60 points on your credit like that. The other part to do is to be an authorized user on your parents' credit card. So if you have a parent or older sister or brother that they have good credit and they've established it for a while, you can be an authorized user on their card. But make sure when they authorize you to use it, they take your FICO score, your social security number, and give it to the bank, to the financial institution. Because if they just give your name to the financial institution, it doesn't impact your credit. But they have to report your social security number in there. And then you'll basically have the benefit of that person's credit. So if somebody like a Miss Jean that has 800 FICO score, If a daughter is like, okay, mom, I want to establish credit, can you add me to 2 of your credit card? Boom, she's going to start with 800 FICO score like that. And then by having that 800 FICO score, she can now use our own credit and using it the same way, the same manner, and she'll keep the 800 like that. Okay.
I have a question for you, and that is, years ago when I was assaulted and all my identity was stolen, all my credit cards, everything, and I was a mess, so I couldn't deal with anything. But I called and canceled everything. But what happened was, and for a long time, I wasn't using my credit cards or anything because I was dealing with my health issues from the issue. And all of a sudden, all my credit, I had 800 then. And then my credit like drastically dropped, and I didn't even realize it because I wasn't using my credit cards at all because I was so messed up and everything. And then that wasn't important to me anyway. And I mean, I didn't know right away, but when I did, and then when I wanted to use one of my credit cards, certain ones I didn't, I canceled, but I told them to send me a new one. And then they gave me a lower credit than what I had. I mean, what's up with that? I don't understand that. And how does that happen? Why am I, being punished for something like that?
Well, I think you kind of mentioned it, that if somebody had affected the credit, you have a lot of that goes on. Unfortunately, that's just life, right? But the key thing is I don't know if this is a forum to talk too much about that. Let me just answer a couple of things there.
Okay.
One thing is to stop all the credits from being used, and then get new credit card, and then
That's what I did. I did that.
Yeah, because that happens to me. I have a Lowe's credit card, that even my Target credit card, I don't know what's wrong with Target these days. Now, again, this Target credit card, I paid it off. We went to Florida. I stopped by a Target, bought some stuff there. And then the next thing I know, while I was in Florida, it was used in LA. And I think I had like a $2,500 credit on there. It got charged up to like $2,200. So, and I knew when I was in Florida, I spent like $600 there. So when I came back, I was paying that 600, and I'm like, wait a minute, I paid 600, and my balance is like almost 1,900. I'm like, what the hell happened here? And I looked at where the stuff were done. And by the way, I called Target. They're telling me that, well, it was done. It was spent. They actually telling me it was justified. But again, you can fight that kind of fight, but you don't mess with your credit. I can say, oh no, that was not me, I'm not gonna pay. No, then you're gonna be 30 days late. So I always tell people, you find the right kind of fight. I'm still dealing with them, but I still made the payment.
Yeah.
I still made the payment, and obviously if they get it right, they will resolve it and they'll give me a negative balance or something.
Yeah, no, but when that happened, all my credit cards, I had no balances. I always paid everything in full because I was making money all the time then. And that's the issue, is that I had no debt. I had credit cards, but I had no debt. Or if I had any balances, it might have been $20, $30 for gas, or not even that. I always paid everything. It was because everything was stolen. They went and used my credit cards at different places after they got everything from me. But I told them that because I found out, because I checked right away, and they told me what was happening. But they knew, and I had a police
in that situation, because you were being justified, right? Because you have zero balance on those card, and then because the charges are there, the bank is still obligated, because the charges are there, to put the interest on the charges until it's resolved. So until it's resolved, it's still a used credit, and one has to be responsible to take care of it. Because if you say, no, I didn't do it, I'm not gonna pay it, then you start getting into the 10, 30 days, 60 days late, and that's what brings the credit down. So there's a justification part, there is a corrective part, but you gotta fight for the corrective for it to be corrected. But meanwhile, you still have to take care of the payment so your credit doesn't go down. All right, so let's move on. So if you have a bad credit, what do you need to do to get it better? Well, number one, this is the number one key thing, to be willing to settle your collection. Again, I see people a lot, like, especially when it comes to medical collections. No, 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 that was not me. It was somebody else. I didn't go to the hospital to use that credit. Okay, but it's in your name. So before you go into collections, let's settle it. You know, or you have something that's charged off because you didn't pay it for a long time, but it's still being reported. See, sometimes you charge it off, the bank charge it off, and they don't report it. That doesn't affect your credit as much. But if they charge it off and they're still reporting it as constant late, if you pull your credit or you go to Credit Karma today, it's still showing that account that went into collection. It's better to settle it, folks. And what I'm finding out, like we did this past week, a lot of things, our collections that have been charged off, that was being reported, even the ones that have not been reported, we call in. I actually get about 50% of those institutions to delete the trade line. So when it's deleted, it can jump you up 50 points. When it's settled, it can still take you up 20 points. It's just as simple as that. So it's better to settle those bad debts than to just ignore them. Number two thing is the ones that you have, which is what you are being scored on mostly, your active trade line, your active credit card. You want to keep those balances under 30% and then under 10%. I went through some of my credit card lately, like, okay, this kind of got a little out of hand. So what can I get to 50%? And then some that's already under 50%, what can I do get to 30%? And I actually, was able to zero out some stuff. So it's always good to know that, okay? And then you can be on authorized user on somebody else's credit card. If your credit is really bad, you want some good trade line, each credit is a trade line. We'll talk about that earlier on. So if you have a lot of bad ones, you want to affect it with some good ones. So if you have 4 bad credit and you can get 4 good credit, you'll still be at 660 FICO score, right? So, and that's where you want to be mostly, at least minimum, right? And then once you start paying your bad credit off, you start shifting to the 700 plus. Okay.
I have a question. How you mentioned about deleting your trade line. How do you do that?
When you call the credit company, especially your old collections, you
Right.
call them, and I'm going to tell you this: it's always much better if you have somebody represent you in the call.
Yeah.
Every time my clients call, they never get anywhere. But when I call with them and say, okay, this is a broker on the line, I think financial institution automatically think I'm a lawyer or something like that.
Well, so you have to have a title. That's the way it works.
Yeah. So
somebody with a title. Well, okay. Well, we'll work with you.
yeah. So that always get it done where you can have the trade line completely. When I say the trade line, let's say you have a Target credit card that went into collection, so they closed the account for you, but you are reported late and on collection. So you call the collection company, you say, okay, I'm going to settle this amount. The balance was 1,300. And we'll go back and forth. We'll settle at 600. And I asked them, I'm requesting the trade line to be deleted. So that means they'll completely delete that collection. And that's really, really good. It can jump you up 50 points if it's only one you got.
Gary, excuse me, Fernando's here.
Okay,
Hey, guys.
I have a question though.
okay.
My question is, my credit score was like 800, but I co-signed a car with someone, and that was before the interest rate was going crazy. And then when I applied to see if I can get a better interest rate on my mortgage, they say I had too many debts. I'm paying for this car, I'm paying for that. I said, no, I co-signed. They said, well, it's still in your credit. In this case, what can I do to get my name off the mess I put myself into?
Fernando, do you want to respond to that?
Well, that one's a little bit more difficult. Typically on those, and Gary, we've had these experiences in the past over the years. You have to almost do a settlement and just get it cleared and closed out of your record. That's number one. I would say that, obviously the balance, I don't know what the balance would be. So it depends on what it is. If is it reasonable or is it
It's like 36, it's like 36,000.
Yeah, because unfortunately, when you co-sign for somebody, whether it be a house or a car or anything, the way that the bank looks at it is the two individuals are 100% responsible for the debt, not 50% each. So unfortunately, I would say get together. Gary's got a few good credit guys that you can, use to try to negotiate it down and do a workaround. But that's truly the only way to get it off permanent record, and get it expunged and
Well,
just get away from it with
And I
time.
think there are two things to consider there. If you have credit that you co-sign with somebody, or somebody is a co-user on your credit, obviously you can just take their name off and be responsible for the rest. If it's a car that you co-sign with someone, obviously you co-sign with that person because they don't have an established credit at that time, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to do, if it's a year further along or 2 years further along, because if it's 36,000, let's say the car was originally 50,000, now the balance is 36,000, and it's 2 years further along, tell them, hey, can you go refinance your car in your name and take my name off of it? And if they do that, you're off the thing. But if they cannot do that, then like Fernando said, you're just equally responsible. Now, when it comes to refinancing a home, Fernando has done this several times where if we can show the other person paid the last 12 months on the car note, then it's not going to be considered a debt against you. Correct, Fernando?
No. Yep, that is true. We have 12 months record that the other person pays it and you co-sign for them. Then you're in the clear. Now, one important note to that, because they verify, when you're doing somebody a favor and helping them to co-sign, make sure that both of you are on it. If the sales guy says, hey, this is going to be a lot better if only you go on it by yourself, that's bad, because if you do that, then you truly really didn't co-sign. You bought the car and you're the only one legally responsible. So you want to make sure that whoever you're helping is on there with you. And then over time, with the 12 months check showing that they pay it, they won't count that against you.
Well, my further question is, the person I co-signed passed away, and then before he passed away, he handed over the car to the sister, although the sister is being paying, but all kinds of people are driving the car. If they get in an accident, I will be legally responsible, will I not?
Yep.
Yeah, well, they're obviously make sure it's insured and everything else. But if you get in an accident and the car is total, let's say, and like Gary was saying, let's say you owe 20,000 on the car, and the insurance company says, hey, we're gonna scrap it for 15. The value of the car is only 15.
Be valid.
You're still going to be responsible for that $5,000 extra. Both of you will be, and that could become a potential collection down the road if it's not handled, as part of the writing the car off, shall we say. So I would definitely, I think what Gary said earlier, I would definitely contact the sister and have her refinance the car into her name. By now you should be able to.
So if she refinance the car in her name, then my name can be taken off from the car, correct?
All of it, yes, the debt and the car and everything. Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's talk about if you are good already with your credit, you are in the 740, 720 and 740 and above. And how do you get to great? How do you get to the 800 FICO score? Well, you need to keep your balance uh, at 10% or below. Keep credit going for a long time. So you don't like when I went to Macy's earlier on just a few months ago, and my credit has been closed because I didn't use it for a long time. That's not good. You actually, and I've had a Macy's credit for probably, I don't know, 30 years or something like that. You don't let it go to the point where we don't use it at all. Unfortunately, there are some, Ashley Furniture, I think living spaces. I had them for a while, but I think they all been closed down. I haven't used them forever. But the ones, so you always want to keep the credit going. Every now and then, my Best Buy credit, I'm like, okay, it's already at zero for too long. Let me go make it active and use something, with it. So be mindful of that to always keep it going, because the longer your trade line is, the better your score. Like Miss Jean, she's probably has some trade line for 40 years and 50 years, and it will just keep your score in a very high level, as opposed to no trade line. So this is and the habits we want to change. It's really the habits that make our credit good. So I think I have a lot of slides, so I'm going to move a little fast here. Change bad habits to form new ones. You deserve a great life, so choose to live a wise path. I think we've gotten a lot of wisdom today with some other people. Change your thinking and change your world. When we change how we think, things happen for us. And that's why we come to programming of our brain. Our brain is a very delicate and sensitive thing. And we do things because of the way we've been taught to do things, or the way we see others around us, closely around us do things, and we want to do things like that. And unfortunately, if those things were about, oh, don't follow the man, don't build credit, don't do this, don't do that, it's going to impair you from having the best life possible. So I'm going to invite you to reprogram the thinking of your mind, and take this new information that you got, and basically it's making this new decision. Like, okay, I've been told by my parents, don't use credit, don't use credit, don't use credit. So now I've been programmed to not want to use credit, but I don't have any credit score. I've had people that are mid of 50 years old and they have zero credit score because they have no credit. That's like,
Me too.
wow. So it takes new understanding. And so when we get this new knowledge, if we open our brain, our mind to absorb this new knowledge, and we think about it, and we feel like, yeah, I deserve this. I deserve to have great credit. I deserve to be the king, queen, and that I should be. So when we start feeling like that, now we start taking action. Like, okay, I'm gonna build my credit. And by the way, if you know anybody that needs help on their credit, I want to invite you to have them give me a call. I don't care if they're buying a house or not. The goal of the Gary Nix team is to help people, individuals, families, to become more financially secure. And any way I can, I will do that. So if you know even a young person that needs to build credit, let me know. Invite them to talk to me. I'll be glad to guide them on it. And thank you, by the way. Fernando has helped me a lot. When people come to me that we don't know where they are, they're like, oh, I don't know where I credit. I said, Fernando, can you help us run the credit? And we looked at it and we start working on it.
Yeah.
And we get them better. So anyway, once we have this good feeling and we go take action towards it, now we start having new results. Now our mind is programmed differently to know we can be the best of ourselves. We can have that great life. that we desire. It really, I mean, we can talk about some benefits, live the best possible life. I'm going to just share a couple of things around that. Having good credit. I have a daughter and some grandchildren that are in Europe, and they are living on vacation tomorrow. And I pay for a family vacation with zero money out of my pocket. I have a Hilton Honors card that I've accumulated so much points on it. And they are going on vacation to Morocco and for 5 days, and it cost me zero because of the points that the credit I accumulated from. That's just the benefit of having good credit. I don't know how many times I fly on Southwest. I love flying on Southwest because I have their card. And I've accumulated so many points on their card. I go every year to Austin, Texas for a seminar. I always go to that seminar for free on a flight. You know, that's the benefit of having, and that's costing me zero, guys, zero. It cost me zero out of pocket. And there was a time, I think I took my family to London and we spent 11 days at a Hilton hotel and I used all my points. Cost nothing. So please, it's really valuable. Is there anybody else that can share what their credit has allowed them to do that didn't cost them anything?
I want to share something.
Okay.
Pamela Jackson. I
All
want
right.
to share that when I first got my house, I had good credit. I still had good credit, but it didn't cost me nothing. But you still should put something down when you first get your house. And one thing I want to say, when I kept my credit going and then I paid off my car and then my credit went down, I said, well, what happened? I said, what happened? And it was because I paid off my car. My credit went way down. So it's been down since the car been paid off.
So that's why you always need some active trade lines. If you have some active trade lines,
Yeah, Pamela,
you have them
I
paid
suggest
off.
you get a credit card and only use it for gas for that car and just pay it off every month. And
I
your
got
credit.
about 8 of those different cards. I got credit cards. I'm paying the credit card, but it just that car, when that car got paid off, everything went down. It was an 8, and it went now it's study at a 7 and over 7.
Well, it'll bounce back.
I hope so.
Hello,
It happened in 6 months. It happened.
hello, Gary.
Yeah,
Yeah, I raised up my hand saying since I don't know, I just jump
Oh,
into conversation.
I need my assistant to tell me that. I don't say. Sorry.
Yeah, since. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and talk.
Why are we being forced, to use these credit cards? Because
Right.
I raised up my hand before you mentioned the Macy's whatever.
Okay.
I don't have any balances. I always pay my balance. My credit score was over 800, right? So that I stopped using my cards, right? But the next thing I knew, my credit went to 740. So and I was like, why? So I called the bank. I called them that why is my credit low? I mean, lower than 800 plus. You know what they told me? They told me because I've not been using my credit cards. And I was like, because I've not been using my credit cards, why am I going to be forced to buy things that I don't need?
Right.
So now I have to be using my credit cards. So I started using my credit cards. So now the credit went back up.
Yeah.
It went
So
back up.
let me just change a mindset for you right there.
Okay.
It's not that they're forcing you to use your credit
Okay.
card. Is that when you use your credit card, like Fernando was talking about earlier on, use it paid, use it. You should be using your credit card like your ATM. And rather than not using it at all, use it like an ATM. You charge it and you pay. You charge it, you pay.
That's what I do now.
Okay, good. And your score has gone up because of that, right?
Yeah, because I just felt like, why do I have to go through all that? Right. Because even in 1985, when I first got my credit card, the bank actually told me, because I was paying, we in Nigeria, we don't use credit. You just pay everything in cash. So I was paying cash, and the bank actually told me then in 85, they told me that I cannot pay it off. I have to pay the minimum payment. That was the bank told me that I have to pay the minimum pay. I can't pay the whole thing off. But now, thank God, now all they require is for your minimum payment now. But in 85, they told me that I can't do that I can't pay it off. I have to make the minimum payment. But I thought that was ridiculous,
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Wendy, is anybody that raised their hand? Because I don't see the stuff.
No,
Okay, all right.
not anymore. But
Ernest?
Mr. Corey said that he's here too.
Does
if
he
you
have
need
any
to.
comment? That's fine. We appreciate him coming.
There's a question here from Queen A. Can the first seminar next year be on reading our credit report and the second seminar making corrections to credit it?
I think that would be more of a one-on-one thing. I'll be glad to do that. So just set up an appointment with me and we can read through it. Maybe when I do the next credit seminar, I will bring some credit samples for you guys to see. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. We always erase all their
We'd have to
names.
block everything out, but
Yeah.
good.
So we'll do that on the next credit seminar. I'm believing the first seminar we'll have in the beginning of the year is to talk about how to finance real estate, the different ways to finance real estate. Because of course we want to get people to do more of
But
that.
I wanted to point out the last person that was talking there, Gary, that like you said, grows up in an environment where they don't use credit. So part of the reason why I'm late is I had a client that was supposed to be here at 9 and they showed up late, so they pushed me out. But the husband doesn't believe in using credit and all that. So when we pull their credit here, he's got a car loan that was paid 7 years ago. So the last time that he even had it was 7 years ago was the last time it was reported. And he had a credit card that was, I think it was a store card, as I recall, that hasn't been active or used in over 3 years. So he doesn't have any FICO scores right now. So that's, for them, it's a big problem because they're looking to buy a house and he's got no credit scores. So obviously we're going to add him to some of the wife's credit cards to get his scores up. But that goes to show you that you show up to get pre-approved, you're excited, you make the income and you just shot yourself in the foot because, you don't realize the value of how important it is to have some credit in something. Everything he's always paid cash.
Yep.
All right, thank you
Missy,
very much.
Miss Missy has a question.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
I have a question about my son. He had to hold on 1 minute. Okay, can you hear me now? I had an echo. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
But in any case, yeah, my son, he got his credit cards consolidated. And so every month we're paying like $500 for this consolidation. So he what was I trying to say? So every month we're paying $500 for the consolidation. Is it something that we can do ourselves? Because it seemed like it's kind of like a waste, because every month we call to ask them, okay, well, did this creditor get paid off? Did that one get paid off? And they keep telling us no, because they don't want to, what you're trying to pay them, they don't want to reconcile with you. You have to pay more. So is it something that we can do ourselves without paying them $500 a month for, for that?
Missy, you have to give me a call back on this. I have to do a one-on-one with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our time.
Okay.
The consolidation program is a little bit different. It's just, unfortunately, that program goes from worse to bad and then it gets good. That's just the way it's set up. They don't pay no credit. So now you're going to be 60, 90 days late on your credit, on all your credits. It will be pretty short and then they will negotiate. Yeah, there's definitely a better way on that, but we'll have to take that. Please give me a call back. I'm going on vacation now, so top of the year.
Oh, okay.
Top of the year.
Okay, no
We can talk
problem.
about that top of the year. So
Okay.
thank
Quickly,
you all
Gary.
so much. I don't
Hey,
always.
quickly, Gary, and okay, quickly. I have a Mrs. Credit card that I've not used in 3 years. I don't have any need to buy anything from Macy's. So, are you saying that I have to continue to use that card? Is that what you're
I
saying?
think if you want the trade line to be actively, scored against your credit, you have to use it from time to time. And it is great that you have a trade line that has a long history. So let's say you've had your Mrs. card for 15, 20 years, right? It connects, it's part of the reading. This is all mathematical calculation, right? So yeah, I would definitely recommend, trust me, if you go to Missy, you'll find something you can buy. If it's a cologne, you can buy it. They got a lot of colognes in Missy.
Really expensive.
So, and then you pay it back again. So every now and then you should activate your card so you don't lose them.
Oh, but can I just close it? I can close the account, right?
I don't recommend that.
I don't recommend
Oh,
that.
really?
I don't recommend you close an account. The
Okay.
longer your trade lines are for you, the better for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
folks, I'm sorry. We are way over time. Thank you all so much. Let's roll the wheel of fortune.